Incredible greetings. Hello, everyone. Incredible greetings. How are you? All right, let's pull this up over here so we can get started. We're going to just do a quick 30-minute or so refresher on using Silhouette Studio for sublimation and some things that you guys should know. So, some of you guys already know this information. If you do, share it with a friend, someone that may not understand it, or stick around. You might learn something new. All right. So, we're just going to go ahead and get this all shared out, and we are going to get started. And I'll just wait for it to build and send out all notifications while I am getting into the topic for today. Uh-oh, hold on. I was trying to type too fast. A couple words messed up here. Hey, did see? I don't know. You know that you can use Silhouette Studio for free. And well, come on. Without a machine to design or just size and print your sublimation projects, join me live to discover how. Okay, there we go. We're going to copy that, share now. And then we're going to share again. Make sure I share it to my groups. I really missed the option to share to all the groups at one time. It's okay though. Okay, there we go. All shared out. Now, let's come over here and hit go live. Hello, everyone. Incredible greetings. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you guys for hopping on again. Some of you guys, I see some of you guys who are on this morning. So thank you guys so very much for hopping on again with me this evening. It's thundering here in coastal Georgia. I'm actually pretty clear here. So hopefully it doesn't get too bad up there. Hey, just say hello, hello, hello. Incredible greetings, everyone. Hello, Robin. How art thou? Hello over here on TikTok. Go ahead and as you come in, double tap that screen. Let me know where you are watching from, like Jesse did, watching from Cyclone, West Virginia. All right, so let us know where you are watching from. Let me know what you use for if you do sublimation. What is your program of choice for designing or simply just printing? Do you print from Cricut Design Space? Do you design in Canva, save it, and then just print it from your desktop, or print it from Word? Do you use Illustrator? Do you use Affinity? Do you use Silhouette Studio already? Let me know what your program of choice is for sublimation. if you are someone that is here and you have no clue what sublimation is, or maybe you've seen it, but you haven't really dived into it and you want a little bit more information about exactly what sublimation is, go ahead and write sub life in the comment. That way I know if we have some people on who I need to kind of go a little bit into detail about what sublimation actually is. So go ahead and put sub life in the comment section. If you have no idea what sublimation is, you just want a little bit more information about it. Okay. So she says that she uses Photoshop. We have someone watching from Ohio. And then we have Martinsburg, West Virginia. Thank you guys for jumping on. Hello from Bloomfield. So someone else says Silhouette Studio. Hello, Kimberly. Let's see. Hello. Thank you to all those who have joined over here on TikTok. Welcome over to TikTok. All right. All right. So we're just going to go ahead and double tap over there. I normally use Corel Draw, but still learning Silhouette Studio Business Edition. It's always so interesting to me when someone says like Silhouette Studio Business Edition, as if it's like it's separate. It's a very big misconception that having Business Edition makes it better, like operate better. There are additional features that can streamline your process, but it doesn't really make the program work any better, any less if you have Designer Plus, or Business Edition. But like I said, there are some features that are key features that I do recommend Business Edition for those features. And Silhouette Business. Thank you for letting me know that you guys are using the business version of Silhouette Studio. All right. I think right now is like prime time for TikTok Shop. And they're pushing out a lot of because when I was on earlier, there's a lot of people on TikTok Shop. So over here, it's not as like, not popping over here, but this is kind of prime time for anyone that has a TikTok Shop. I've considered it and gone back and forth, and I'm just really not interested in doing it, but I can see how it can help some people. I'm just not sold on TikTok Shop. I like having my customers that email and really having them inside of our customer relations system, and you just don't get that, and just the time constraints. Anything could happen, and I'm not trying to have to deal with a bunch of refunds and returns. It's too, like, to me, they're putting too much of a restriction. That 3-day thing is, I get what you're trying to do and making sure that people get products out, but I think 3 days is just not enough time. So until they fix that, I'm just really not interested in doing the whole TikTok Shop thing. So, but yeah. So hello, everyone. I am Shakia, the Professor of HSINK365. We are the home of the Honestly Speaking brand of products. We carry the absolute best sublimation paper and ink. If you don't know, we have that Change the Game sublimation paper that will allow you to sublimate as low as 365 degrees, as fast as 30 seconds. My shirt on gray was pressed 365, 30 seconds about like a week or two ago. I did these actually on live, so you can go and check out that video. We also have Sublimation ink that's keyed for eco tanks, but you all can also use them with your cartridge-based printers, okay? So I've done quite a bit of discussion about like sublimation. I don't see anyone that put sub life. So everyone here is very familiar with sublimation, so don't have to kind of go into what's needed for sublimation or anything like that. But one of the questions that I do see quite often is, what can I use to print my sublimation designs? There's a lot of crafters who get into this, who have Cricuts, and they use Cricut Design Space. I've run across so many people who kind of, switch over and kind of merge into the whole sublimation world from Cricut. But when it comes to Cricut Design Space, because they don't want you to really just print just for the sake of printing. It's like if you're going to print from their software, it's meant for you to actually cut from their machines as well. So that's why whenever you print from there, you have to flatten, and you're automatically going to get those registration marks. Well, Silhouette Studio doesn't require you to turn on your registration marks if you want to print. You can simply print directly from Silhouette Studio. As a matter of fact, you can print to any printer. I have tested it out, and I had my laptop plugged directly to my Roland, and I'm able to send a print directly from Silhouette Studio to my Roland. Now, I don't get all of the color controls and things like that, but if it's just like a regular print, I can just send it. So with Silhouette Studio, you are not limited on the size design page that you can use or what printer you can send it to. That design page portion is what inspired this video. So I'm going to just kind of go through a bunch of different things, all to really get down to how do you set it up? Because that was a question that I received. They don't understand how to kind of set their design page up so that it prints and prints properly. And then that pesky print preview of Silhouette Studio that has so many people thinking that it's going to come out cut off and all those different things. I will say that I personally do not use the version that has the print preview. I use 4.3.370. And in that version, there was no print preview. It started in version 4.4. And I think in 4.4s, you can't turn it off, or like the last update, I think of 4.4, you can turn it off. And then you have 4.5 where you can toggle it on and off. You don't have to have print preview on. In some of the earlier versions, there it was like two buttons, one that said print, which was a blue button, and then one that said settings. It was so confusing because if you hit settings, you didn't really get to the print, like the actual print settings. And so many people were afraid to hit the print button because it looked weird on that print preview. But you can hit print and it will not just automatically send it to you, whatever printer you selected. It's going to take you to your preferences where you can select the printer that you want to send it to and then set all of your settings there. And if you want to see a print preview from there, you're going to select it from within the Epson settings, and that's going to give you your true print preview. Because if you use the one in Silhouette Studio, if your settings are to mirror, that print preview is not going to show mirrored. And then what happens for a lot of people is when they see that print preview and it's not mirrored, they cancel it. They'll go back into Silhouette Studio, they'll mirror it, and then when they go to print, they still have mirror on the print. So when it prints out, it is actually now back the right way. So it's a lot of like back and forth. Gotta sneeze. Excusez-moi. So it's a lot of like back and forth with understanding like, well, hey, I mirrored it. It's still coming out the wrong way. It was wrong when I pressed it to a shirt, pressed it to a tumbler. Thank you. That dude fam. Thank you for saying bless you. So we're going to just kind of go through all of that. Now that we have a few more people on, I'm going to ask the question again. What software or app do you guys use to design and print your sublimation projects from? All right. And then a part two to that is if you're using something other than Silhouette Studio, did you know that you could actually use Silhouette Studio for just simply printing sublimation? You don't have to design. So if like, let's say if you purchase files from Etsy or Creative Fabrica or designbundles.net, you can actually simply open it up, set it up in there, resize it, print it, and you never have to use it for design. How many of you guys knew that? So over here, Soul Beads and Bling, you use Silhouette Studio and Affinity Designer 2. I have the original Affinity Designer, but I'm not a big fan of it. So we have somebody else that's using Silhouette Studio. All right. So I think quite a few of you guys are already using Silhouette Studio as far as who's watching live to like right now. So these things may not be, of like a big shock to you guys or new information for you. But if you are watching the playback of this, be sure to go ahead and put the hashtag replay and still let me know what program you use. And let me know if you are interested in learning more about how to use Silhouette Studio in combination with sublimation. Before I get too far into this, I do want to remind you guys that I don't know who your football team is, but mine is the Dolphins, and we started off the season with a win. So for the Fins win, you guys get 23% off the day after a Miami Dolphins win. So you go head over to the website, put in the code FINS win, PHINSWIN, Fins win, and you receive 23% off of the 8.5 by 14 or 11 by 17 paper. It is only valid until 11:59 p.m. tonight, which is the day after the game. So that's going to be kind of ongoing. All right. Let's see. I know it, but I just need to get in the habit of using it. So I do see that. I think you said that you're using Photoshop, correct? Now, if you're using Photoshop and it's just a matter of printing it out, there's really not a big need to go to Silhouette. Like, you're already using a software. You're already paying either the monthly fee or the annual fee for Photoshop, and you can print from there. There's nothing wrong with printing from Photoshop. I saw some people who were like, they will design in Photoshop and then save it and then take it to Silhouette Studio to print it out. Now, two of the people I can understand where the confusion came in at, because it's not as clear cut. Like, they did not understand how to read the design page in regular inches. Like, when they set it up, they were in pixels and they didn't know where to go to make sure that it was like the right size. So it was easier to see the sizes in Silhouette Studio because it's all in inches if you have it set up that way. It's not set by pixels. So I understood why that was a bit of a confusing moment for them, why they would always, so it's like, you already have Photoshop. Why do you save it from Photoshop and then take it over to Silhouette Studio? But they kind of broke that down for me. But if you know how to use Photoshop and you understand like your page sizes, you don't have to go kind of like, I would say, backwards to Silhouette Studio to be able to simply print, if that's what you're doing, especially if you're already setting your design up in Photoshop. There are certain designs that I just rather set up in Silhouette Studio because it becomes easier, especially for text-based designs. If I'm not adding drop shadows or embossing or glows and things like that, I rather just design them in Silhouette Studio. All right. I'm not sure if that was a wave or answering a question, but hello. Hey, Keita, how art thou? All right. So again, don't forget, Fins win all together for 23% off of 8.5 by 14 and 11 by 17 100 packs, whether it's fast dry or tacky. Okay, let's get into this. I'm going to show you where you're going to go to download Silhouette Studio if you've never used it before, how to set up your design page, how to bring in a file, how to size it, and then, of course, how to print it. Like, okay, where you're going to go in your print settings. Make sure that you guys are giving this video a thumbs up. It takes 2 seconds to just show some love. Y'all know I'm always dropping great knowledge, so it's worthy of a thumbs up. Double tap the screen over here. I know we can do better than that. There's enough of you not watching to where we could easily hit 2,000 likes within like a couple, like tap. So I'm gonna get you guys to go ahead and double tap over here. Make sure that you guys like the video, tag a friend over on Facebook, and share it out if you're watching over on YouTube. Okay. All right. So let's share screen over here. And we're going to flip over here. Okay. All righty. So first things first, where to go to get Silhouette Studio. You're going to go to silhouetteamerica.com. So you can either put it in the search bar or just type in the website, www.silhouetteamerica.com. This is not a sponsored video. I do not get paid to recommend this to you guys. I just think that it is really great for beginners. I, end up using this a few years ago. Now it's what? Let me see. My niece is now 9. So maybe about 10 years ago is when I first started using it. And I am someone that uses graphic designing software such as Photoshop, Illustrator, and Corel Draw. And there were just features in here that blew me away. And I share with others because it is actually free to use and get access to like top tier graphic designing tools like point editing. This is something that that's one of the first things I learned in Photoshop is how to manually trace using like the pen tool. So being able to edit points, having things like weld and subtract and compound paths all in the free version of Silhouette Studio. It is great, absolutely great for beginners. Okay. How did I get my Google purple down here where it says customize Chrome? You can click there and change your theme. So silhouetteamerica.com. The base software is absolutely free. There are upgrades such as Designer, Designer Plus, or Business, which will unlock additional features, especially for designing. If you are someone that just wants to use Silhouette Studio for printing so that you can size it and actually use your full 13 by 19. If you have Cricut design space, you can't take advantage of that full 13 by 19. If you wanted to do tiling and split it up, you can do that in the free version. It's a little bit more difficult to do it in something like Silhouette, Cricut design space. And although you can set certain things up and you can pull them on your screen, kind of move them over, save that as a JPEG file and things like that from Canva, you can actually set up your tiles and without having to really split anything up. I teach that one in my class. Now, I do have a video teaching you how to split it up. I might release that this year on our platform on how you can simply just print it and say, actually, you know what? No, I have done that in like a simplified way. So if it was like just 2 or 3 prints, I have a free video on that and just setting it up and moving it around your screen. You don't have to crop anything. You don't have to resave anything. You can literally do it all from Silhouette Studio if you're going to tile it out. So you can do that from the free version and everything. Okay. So you're going to come here. Then you're going to go up to software. Then you're going to go get software. And from here, you're going to go to where it says learn more. Learn more. Oh, come on, TikTok. Double tap that screen. We definitely can get over 1,000. Double tap the screen. All right. So then we're going to go to learn more. Now, if you want to try out the latest version of Silhouette Studio, you can simply hit download. If you have a Windows computer, I recommend the 32-bit version. Even if you have 64, I recommend 32 because it's meant to work a little bit slower, so it's not as clunky. But I personally prefer to use 4.3.370. Every time a new version comes out, I do upgrade just to kind of test it. I always end up coming back to 4.3.370. If you have the Pro, or the Portrait 3, you have to stay in those higher tiers, the 4.5s. And if your computer does not have a good graphics card, good memory, it's going to be a little bit clunky for you. But if you have any of the other ones, you can go down to the version that I use and recommend, which is 4.3.370. So you're going to go to learn more. And then where it says download legacy versions, you're going to click on that. And then you're going to find 4.3.370. And you're going to still download the 32-bit version if you're using Windows. If you have a Mac, you're just going to do the 64-bit because they only offer that for Macs. Once you have that, you're going to want to create, so while you're over here, create an account. It's a free account. It doesn't, subscribe you to anything, but you are going to need that account in case you ever decide to update to Designer Edition, Business Edition, things like that. and then also to access the cloud on in your library so that you can log in anywhere if you save to your cloud. I don't really save to my cloud, but in order to access those files or to get access to the Silhouette Studio design store, you are going to need to have that login. Anything that's in the design store, you can actually sublimate that as well. With sublimation, if you can print it, you can sub it. So if you go in there and they have vector files, all you have to do is just add color to it, resize it, and then you're ready to print. Okay. So 4.3.370, and then make sure that you do set up a free account over on Silhouette America's website, because that's going to be important for a lot of different things. All right. Once you go and you download that, you go through all the process to set it up, your screen is going to look somewhat like this. Now, this one may not be open. Now, I intentionally had this set up where it is a very odd size. The default is 12 by 12. So normally every, person, when they first start with it, the mat will be on and it'll be set up for 12 by 12. With Silhouette Studio, whatever was the last thing that you designed in and kind of sent a print in is what's going to show up when you open up like a new page. Now, if you just, like if I was to close it and then open it up, I'll get the 12 by 12. But this is something that always kind of foils people up, because if they open up a file that they got from a group or anything like that, it's going to change the way that it looks when they go to open up their file. Or let's say they purchase a file and it was set up kind of differently and it had a 11 by 17 layout, but you only have a printer that prints 8.5 inches wide. You can print up to 47 inches long. So you can print 8.5 by 11. You can print 8.5 by 14, which is 23% off until 11.59. So you can print to those sizes. Most people don't realize that the smaller format printers is not just for 8.5 by 11. You can do 8.5 by 14. You can do 8.5 by 19. You can do 8.5 by 17, 8.5 by 24, 8.5 by 36, 8.5 by 40, 8.5 by 47. You can print up to 47 inches long with any Epson printer. Okay. So no matter how this looks, what you always want to do is go over to your design page and set that up for whatever size paper you are going to print to. So we're going to slide y'all over here. Okay. And this icon at the top is your design page setup. So right now mine is set for 7.5 by 4.5 because of a project that I was doing on Saturday. Here, where it says machine, because you are not using any type of Silhouette related machine, it is best to have that set to none. You don't need the machine. You don't need a cutting mat. If you do kind of use, you have an a Silhouette machine, even if you have this set to like Cameo, when it comes to your mat, you want to still put none, because if you don't and you have a wide format printer, you will not be able to set it to 13 by 19. All right. Well, actually, with Cameo, you're still not going to. So if I hit 13 here, actually, no. Okay. So that one will let me go. And then let's go 19. See, that's going to jump to 12. It won't let me go past what the Cameo restrictions are. That was one of the added features of like 4.3, 4.5, 4.7. It will restrict you based off of the machine that you have selected. So let's say I'm going to change this orientation. See, that went from 13 automatically to 12. If I try and put in 13 there, it's going to keep reverting back to 12. So it's important to set your machine to none. Once that's set to none, I can make this 13. I can make this 48. Ooh, let's actually set 483. So 48. I can make this 36. You can now change this to whatever size you want it to be. So if we go 8.5 by 47. Okay, if you have a wide format printer that prints 13 by 19 paper, you can set this to 12.95 by 47. So that is where you're going to set up your design page. Your design page must match the size paper that you are printing to. Understood? Yay, I'm glad. Hey, if for nothing else, this video was for you, Anita, that somebody, well, at least one person learned something new. Yes, mission accomplished. This video was for you because she says, oh my, OMG, I could never figure that out. Now you know, okay? And if you ever forget, you can always come back to this video because we don't delete our teachings over here, okay? My initial screen is completely blank whenever I open mine. No previous design or even my mat. I click on store or library, then click back on design for anything to appear. So that has happened like sometimes, I'm not sure why it happens every time you open up, but that has happened to me before, like kind of like flipping back and forth. And yes, I end up having to go to library and then back to design. It's just a weird little glitch. So yes, I sometimes have to do that as well. Even when I'm actually in the midst of designing, I'll go out and come back in, or like I'll go to like the internet and come back, and then it's all wonky. So that is normally what I do. Library and then back to design. If your page is all white, I'm going to see if I can get it to go all white. I don't think it's actually going to go all white. I'm going to go to my preferences real quick, display, and I'm going to go light and then apply. I don't recommend this. If your screen is set up like this, you are never going to see where your design page is if you are using this just for sublimation. Now, if you were using this with your Cameo and then you're going to have your mat on, then you'll know where that is. But if you're simply using this for sublimation, do not, I repeat, do not set your background to white. Under your preferences, you don't want it to be light. You want that to be gray or dark, okay? And then hit OK or apply on that. That way, when you have it set to none, you can still see where that design page is. That is a big one for a lot of, I end up having to like walk a couple people through that in various groups. They want to use Silhouette Studio, but for some reason theirs is set to white and they can't tell where they're supposed to have the design, and then it cuts off and all that kind of good jazz. So make sure that your theme is set to gray or dark, not light. Okay. So that's that. Now you can choose to show your print border to help you line things up. So as you can see on the one on my screen right now, my print border is that gray line and it is not taking up the full 47. Your print border will be the last thing that you printed. So it doesn't matter if it was from Silhouette Studio, if it was from Photoshop, if it was from Cricut Design Space, if it was from Corel Draw, it does not matter. The last thing that you printed is what's going to show up as the print border until you change it. So here is where that pesky print preview of Silhouette Studio becomes an issue, because so many people will then go to print. And let's say if you had it set up for 47 inches long, it's going to show it cut off. And that freaks everybody out. Oh my God, what am I doing wrong? You did nothing wrong. It's going to show you based off of the last print that you did. All you would have to do is hit that blue print button and you will get probably this, which you can just exit out. Don't use this screen at all. No matter when this screen comes up, just exit out. And remember, this is Windows PC. I have a video for Mac users, but from Silhouette Studio, it's going to be the same thing. The print preview will come up. If you have that turned on, you can turn it off. Hit print. It will not send it to your printer. Repeat after me. Hit print. It will not send it to your printer. It is going to open up your preferences, whether you have a Windows computer or if you have a Mac system. It will go to your print settings. So I'm going to just exit out. This is what you are looking for when you have a Windows PC. Mac, it looks different. Go check out my video. So type in, honestly speaking, Mac sublimation settings, or you can go to my Linktree. It's there as well. But it's easier if you just go straight to YouTube, type in, honestly speaking, Mac print settings, and that video will come up. Now, once you click on preferences, it does not matter what printer you have to download the drivers for every printer. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 7 Epson printers in my office. 7 different ones, whether it is for sublimation, if it's one that really doesn't, I don't really use it, it's for decoration. I have 2 that are set up for 3 that are set up for pigment ink. So I have quite a few Epson printers. It doesn't matter which one. You will have to set up the drivers for each model of printer. All right. And when you click on preferences, it should look like this. If it does not look like this, that means you do not have the drivers installed. Now, for Macs, there's a different way to know if you have the drivers installed. You will have to watch that video because I don't have a Mac here. That one is at the house, not at the office. But this is the screen that you should have. If it looks like, that's network. If it looks like network, nope, not that one. Oh, duh, that says network. Network. Okay, let's see. That one says ready. That one doesn't say network. Let's see. This one should give me the wrong settings. Okay, wait. It's coming up. Okay, wherefore art thou? Okay, I have no idea what this is. No. Why are you not? What the heck? Why are you not coming up? Okay, there it is. If it looks like this, this means you do not have your drivers installed, or you're on the wrong one. If it doesn't say network, it doesn't show an IP address, that is the one that, like, because as soon as you hook the printer up and like it's on your Wi-Fi, the printer's gonna show up. Like it's ready to print, but you don't have all of the features. So once you go through and you download your drivers, it's going to tell you to go through it again, to put in like your Wi-Fi and all of that. Once you see the IP address, that's normally the indicator that that is the one that is set up to the network and that you have the drivers installed. So if it looks like this, this is the one where it's no drivers. Even if you have set the drivers up, you have clicked on the wrong one. If you click on the one for fax, it is going to look like this. This is not the right print settings. What you want to see, no matter which printer. So this is the 70, this was my 7210. This is what the settings look like. This is my 7720. Oops, nope, wrong one. The settings look the same way. It's just that my presets are going to be different for that one. If I go over to my 2800 and I go to preferences, it's going to look the same way. As you can see, my preferences are different on that one. We're going to go to, I think I did 7820. Did I do my 7840? 7840 preferences, different set of presets because that's a different printer. That is like just the pigment ink printer and stuff like that. So now my 7710 and my 7720, I have one that's pigment ink and one that's sublimation. So there's 2 of each of those, and one has, so the settings are mixed. My presets for that, I have my sublimation presets as well as my regular printing presets on there for both of those style printers. But every single printer, you must download the drivers for each one, and it will still come up looking the same way. If you want to verify that what you sent to print is indeed going to be the right paper size and all of that kind of good jazz, you want to click here where it says print preview. And once you hit OK, and then you go to print, before it sends it to your printer, you're going to see it spool on Silhouette Studio. Before it sends to your printer, it's going to open up a print preview. If it's correct, you hit print. If it's not correct, you hit cancel, and you're going to go back to the drawing board and fix anything that needs to be corrected. You don't have to worry about it adjusting. If it was set up for 47 inches, you don't have to like set it up and then go back. Now, if you want to see it, the joy of Windows is you can actually see that once you go, like you can just hit cancel. With Macs, you would have to go into page setup and all these other things, whatever. But you can go set it up, hit cancel, and you will see it jump. Or just simply send it to print or do the print preview. But once you change this, so I'll go to 8.5 by, actually no, so I have the 13-inch roll set up. So let's just go, I'm just going to go 12-inch banner because it's still set up technically for 47 inches. So I would just go ahead and put that in. I'm going to hit cancel on that one. Let's come over here, go back to preferences. And so I have my 13-inch roll. Where are you? 13-inch sublimation paper, HS Ink 13-inch roll, and it will jump. Okay. So let's just say, okay, apply, cancel. See, my print jumped. So had I sent it to print, once I came back to this, it will be set up. It will be like here now. So now if I go down to 11 by 17, I don't see the edge on this side. I'm going to zoom in. See, there's no actual edge on this side or on the bottom because it is set up for 13 by 47. However, once I go, I'm just going to send it to print a blank page just so that you can see the difference. That is still going to do it. So we're just going to go preferences. I'm going to go 13 by 19, hit OK, and then print. And once it spools to go in print, this is going to, at some point here, jump. Okay, why didn't you? Oh, wait. Duh, I still chose 13 by 19, 7 by 17. So let's try this again. We're going to go print. Oh, it's actually pulling a paper to print blank. Preferences, we're going to go 11 by 17. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to hit print. And once I do that, see, my print preview went to 11 by 17. So you don't have to worry about that. All right. So that's setting it up and doing your print settings. Now, when it comes to designs, this is a big one. When it comes to Silhouette Studio, if you have a PNG and that PNG has a lot of extra stuff around it, it's not going to be the correct size. Unlike some other softwares where when it has the transparent pixels, it kind of picks up on those and will technically kind of sort of take those away. It doesn't do that in Silhouette Studio. You have to do a trace and detach, or you have to crop it down to get it to the exact size, or you're going to have to make like a box that's the size that you want it to be and then resize it for that. Where a lot of people kind of get hung up on is saying, oh, well, I sized my design to 13 by 19, 11 by 17, but it printed out so small. That's because there's a lot of negative space around it. Oh, we're at 43 minutes. I only want it to be around like 30. So I'm going to wrap this up. If you have questions, post them in the comment section now. That way I can know that there's questions there and I can get to those and wrap this up. I just don't want this video to be too long. I know it's informative. I know it's probably helpful for a lot of you guys. Let me know if it's helpful for you right now, even though it might be helpful for those of you guys who are watching. People tend to not watching the longer, playbacks. So I want to try and keep this really simple. Do I always print through Silhouette? 93.65% of the time, yes, I am printing through Silhouette Studio because I'm designing there. Although I know Photoshop, I'm not big on designing on Photoshop. I'm not really big on there's certain, I use every program for me serves a purpose. And what I use Photoshop for, I'm typically not really like using for my sublimation projects, unless like I want to have like fades and stuff like that. But then I'll normally bring that into Silhouette Studio and crop it down to my template, because it's a little bit easier to do that versus creating the outline and creating that shape and then doing a clipping mask for it to be in there. Like, crop in Silhouette Studio is different than crop in Photoshop. And you have to do certain things to get it to be a clipping mask. Like, you can't just kind of bring it in. It's just like set up as a clipping mask. It's easier in Silhouette Studio. So I rather take it over there and crop it to the template, and it's the size. And then all I have to do is duplicate it. And then I'll print from there. So 93.65% of the time, I am printing from Silhouette Studio. I need help with printing pink. Any advice? So if you were using a EcoTank printer, I do videos on this all the time. You may not notice until it comes to certain colors that your colors are going to be off because of the ink that it uses. All of the EcoTank printers, except for the 16600 and the 16650, use dye-based inks. Dye-based inks look nothing like sublimation ink. So when you're using those for sublimation, your color gamut is going to be completely off, even by a smidgen. Now, if it's a design that you created, you can use color charts to correct that and select the color that's going to be as close to how you want it to be printed out. If it's something that is pre-made, you're at the mercy of however they designed it, whatever ink you are using. Contrary to popular belief, there is a slight difference in ink when it comes to color and the color output. Will it still sublimate? Will it still be vibrant? Sure, but there is a difference in the color. But for EcoTank printers, it doesn't really matter, because it's normally going to always be off, because no sublimation ink is ever going to match an EcoTank profile. Everyone that says they have this ink and it's made for EcoTanks, they're lying. They don't know what they're talking about. It's just marketing, because no ink, no sublimation ink can ever be formulated to match the color profile of EcoTank printers that use dye-based inks. None of them. That's why the ink that you're using an EcoTank printer. I don't care what they tell you. I don't care what printer profile they tell you to use. It's never going to work. It's never. You're going to have to play around with your settings and maybe adjust like some pinks and the cyan. Like, you'll have to really play around with it. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna open up a file. One thing about Silhouette Studio I love is you can drag and drop with PCs. Macs, sometimes, I guess, like some of you guys always tell me that you can't actually drag and drop. So I'm sorry. All right, I'm gonna open up only because it's here. So I'm gonna just drag this one in, and I think that has a lot of extra. But I'm going to come back over here and let's go group by type. So I can go straight down to my PNGs and my JPEGs. All right, so let's just grab this one. And you can see, like, I'm able to just drag and drop it as long as it's not right over. Okay, hold on. It's not right over an element, it will just drop in, which I did with that one. Okay, wait, hold on. Come on. God dang it. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to pull in let's pull in this is another good one. So let's pull this one in. That's going to show you all the extra around it. And now let's go down here to our PNG files. Feathers of Style is always a good one. So let's do that one. And let's see, what else can we pull in? What else can we pull in? Okay, so since this one has, although I think she may have sent this one where it was the right size, but if not, this is going to be a good one because it has a lot of different things on it. Actually, no, I can already tell there's extra to this. Okay, so all these things, we kind of have on here. If I was doing a tumbler and I wanted my tumbler to have this and I want to add things to it, I'm going to make a box and I'm going to set that to the size of your standard 20-ounce tumbler. For me, that is 9.35 by 8.15 and hit enter. I'm going to place this. I'm going to just place it in the middle, select it, modify and crop. And now I can layer things on top. So I'm going to bring this to the front. Now, if I were putting this on this tumbler, I'm going to end up sizing it to fit within this shape. So it doesn't matter what the size is because the 9.35 is my border. So I don't have to worry about doing a trace and detach on this. However, if I wanted this by itself and I wanted this on a shirt, I'm going to now just go ahead and just trace and detach it. So we're just going to put a box and we're going to increase our threshold. We're going to go trace and detach. I didn't need to go all the way up to 100. That was overkill. And I'm going to delete this. So now if I didn't change anything on these. If I click on this one, it is actually 4.731 by 8.011. If I click on this one, it is 5 inches by 8.041. Not a big difference in this case, but there are times where it will make a big difference. If you are trying to, you really can't set this up to cut from vinyl without having the outside. Or let's say you size, let's say you bring the picture into Cricut Design Space and it automatically, of course, removes your outside. You set that to a certain size to cut the vinyl, but then you come over here and you try and make it the same size. It's going to be off because it's already off a few not quite inches, but tenths of inches. So this is, like I said, 4.731 by 8.011. This is 5.001 by 8.041. So it is slightly off. There is some transparent pixels that's a part of the overall size. You have to trace and detach that down. Now, if I look at this dove right here, I'm going to trace and detach that one. That one I did have to go up because it's all white. If I was going to get a printer, I would get a 16600, 16650, or F570. Correct. Those are actually my recommendations now. I despise EcoTank printers, and I'm not a big fan of the workforce now with the chips. And also, it's an issue when your printer is not in the room with your computer or your Wi-Fi box. It takes forever. So I'm actually not a big fan. Now that I'm in a situation where those printers are in a separate room, not a real big fan of the newer workforces because of that. All right, so let's delete. So now this dove, this one is 2.354 by 2.617. This box says 2.723, 2.354, 2.723, 2.867, 2.617. Big difference. Well, not a big, sometimes it's a really, really big difference. If you opened up this file and it was sized down, or let's say it as soon as you open it up, it's on your design page and you go to size it, a lot of people think, oh, well, the white doesn't print, and they're going off of this size. So this says 20 by 167 by 13.407. But if I were to, again, trace and come on now, trace and detach this, This is actually only 14 inches, 14.676 by 9.988. This says 13. Big difference. And there are PNGs that will come that same way because they are saved with all of the additional pixels, especially if you're using remove.bg. It doesn't resize it. It leaves it the exact same size that the background was like that covered, like the background covered. It just removes it and then you save it. So you're going to have all this extra space. So you must trace and detach to bring that size to the correct, to bring it down to the correct size. So that's important to know. And then like with this one, I don't remember if this was the right size or not. I'm just going to put a box here right to the very, very tippy top. Whatever is the end on the sides to the bottom. And then bring it on the inside here. So about 11.977, 11.230. But if I click on it, so this one might be set up correctly. If I say, yeah, the person that sent this to me, I was pretty sure that this one was actually set up correctly. But if you want it to be on the safe side, you can always trace and detach. Let's take this up. I can either just trace outer edge and just see what that says, or I could trace and detach. So if I trace outer edge, this says 11.989, 11.990. So that's going to be pretty spot on. You really don't have to trace and detach that. You can size that and then just be able to print it. So we have our page here. I don't, if you want it to be a specific size, I recommend locking your aspect ratio and only changing one dimension, either the height or the width. Never leave it unlocked and then just change this to say, oh, well, I want this to fit a 13 by 19. It's going to look crazy. It drives me nuts to see people teaching that to just resize it and just stretch it from the sides. Why are we distorting files? That just makes no sense to me. You want it to stay proportional. So if you needed to change a size, you want to lock it, and then we can make our height 19 inches. The width would then adjust with it. And then, hey, we know we can't make this 19 inches. So let's make our width 13. So the total height on this is going to be 13.958. You cannot force something that, like, from whatever its original proportion is to go to something that is totally disproportionate and then look correct. Make sense? So I always recommend that you lock the aspect ratio and change only one variable. Don't change them both. Or you can always just kind of get a roundabout size. I've never worried about it being exact. I just kind of adjust it. If I wanted 9.5 and it came out to be like 9.6, I'm not going to stress about it. You don't have to have it be an exact size. And if you need it to, you can rotate to fit more items on there, resize it, print one for an adult, one for a kid. You just want to be mindful of your print margins. You can move it up just in case it's like touching and stuff like that. You have free reign. If it needs to be catty cornered just to get things to fit, you're able to do that in Silhouette Studio. You have full control over the orientation, the size, in determining how it prints and how you can squeeze things in there. Okay. And then that's it. So then you're going to print and you're going to sub. If you're using Honestly Speaking sublimation paper, you're going to press it at 365 degrees, 30 seconds. If you're doing a tumbler, you're going to do it in an oven, 350 degrees, 4 minutes. If you're doing it with a tumbler press, between 350 and 365 for about 30, 45 seconds. Any questions? Any questions? Make sure I didn't. Oh, okay. I see one here. I tried to change the size on my image in Silhouette, and the size keeps changing to the original when I go to print. How do I lock the size? I'm not sure what you mean by is changing. I would recommend you're on Facebook to show me what you are, what's happening, because once you change the size, it's going to print and it's going to stay that size. So as long as you've put the dimensions in and you've hit okay, it will go to that size. It doesn't change when you go to print. I've never known it to do that. I would definitely need to see screenshots or like pictures of what's actually happening to help you through that particular issue. I forgot to pull it up on StreamYard, so I'm just going to open it up in Silhouette because that's where I designed it at. And just to remind you guys that it is 23% off, 11 by 8.5 by 14, which is your legal size, 11 by 17, which is your tabloid size, the 100 sheet packs. So not like the multi-packs or the cases, it's off of the sheets of paper. All you have to do is type in Fins Win at checkout, and you're going to receive 23% off. Even if you buy 3 of them, 4 of them, each of those, like the whole order of 8.5 by 14 or 11 by 17, fast dry or tacky paper will be 23% off. Last call for questions. Last call for questions. If you learned something today, put hashtag TPTM for the professor taught me. If you learned something today, TPTM. I have tons of videos showing a multitude of design processes in Silhouette Studio, from basic ones to advanced ones. Goes years and years and years back, for all sorts of things. You also can enroll in our 30-day training that teaches you all of the essential tools of Silhouette Studio, which is going to make designing that much easier and smoother for you when you actually understand the tools and functions. There is no such thing as like designing just for sublimation. Most times when I'm designing, I can use that for a number of things: sublimation, DTF, eco-solvent prints, printing with like on Jet Pro 3G, printing to Caesar DTV, using it digitally. So I don't really say I have like a design process simply for sublimation unless I am designing within a template for a specific substrate. But the design process, it's always the same, no matter what the substrate is. There's over 8-9 years of designing. Oh, I know, because she asked about color. If you are like setting your colors up and you're going to sub it, I do recommend that you use color codes. So we have color charts on our website. And what you want to do with those, you want to print them out on your printer and you want to sublimate them. You can use felt sheets. Felt, even if they say recycled plastic, that is what polyester is. It's a synthetic material. It's a man-made material. So you're going to go to Hobby Lobby, Joann's, Walmart. I don't think I've ever seen them at Target. Any places where there's felt, or you just want to get scrap fabric, or if you have a shirt that you screwed up on and you want to put that color chart on there. That is going to let you know exactly how your printer prints with whatever ink you are using, how your printer outputs ink. So now if you want it to be a specific shade of pink, it's going to look probably cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs on your design screen. I'm going to tell you, it's It's going to seem like it's off. But when you've printed that out and you can see that color code, you're going to go to your fill tool. You're going to come down here to the hex code. I'm going to grab one of these and just pick a random color. Okay, we're going to go FFC107. And no matter what it looks like on your screen, because every screen is different, by you having that printout and it is subbed, you're not going to be surprised at how that color comes out. But that is only when you are creating the design yourself and you are able to fill in the color. If it is a pre-made design, you are at the mercy of whatever design software they used and whatever color codes they used. All right. We got a couple people that learned some things today. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you so very much. You are very welcome, Eve. All righty. Well, I thank you guys so very much for joining me. I will end up doing this again, just in case anyone has live videos. I think these are kind of like in rotation at least once a month, just to kind of go over Silhouette for Salvation for beginners. And this is just, you already have pre-made designs, bring it in, resizing it, and printing it out. When it comes to design, it's a bit of a process just to get comfortable with the software, get comfortable with your creative voice is what I teach my students. You have to find your creative voice in how you design, and then you'll be able to put all of that together and create your own custom designs. Okay. All right. Be sure to visit our website, shop.hsink365.com. That is where you can sign up for our classes, as well as get that game-changing sublimation paper. You can click on the link that's right, the thumbnail that's here. It's going to take you to the collection for paper. So this is our fast try, and then the tacky paper is here. If you want to try it out first, we do have sample packs of paper as well. Okay. All right, y'all. Until next time, have a great one. Continue to unlock your creativity and be incredible. Peace.